Hey, good day, everyone. Rob Sparrow here for the Viral Volley podcast. I'm here with senior outside hitter from University of Hawaii, Colton Cowell, also an incredible beach talent, even though a lot of you don't get to see that because we don't have a collegiate men's beach program, but got to catch him playing on the beach. He's definitely a living highlight reel for sure. Thanks for coming
Thank you.
on, Colt.
Yeah, thank you for having me so much. And I think there was discussion of men's college beach volleyball kind of becoming a little more popular and the beginnings of certain programs developing teams, right?
That's
Not to
right,
go
yeah.
off track, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a focus group that's been developed, I believe, by the NCAA that it has a few pretty notable names on it. So will we seeing a second degree for you, Colton?
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. I mean, if that's another pretty incredible opportunity along with everything that's going on. Yeah.
Well, let me hit you up with the questions I had in mind for you
Sure.
today to talk about your Rainbow Warrior team, which is just a phenomenal team the entire career that you've been there. So
Hmm.
unfortunately, this last year was cut short, but I mean, your team finished ranked number 2 in the final AVCA poll. And can you share some of your thoughts on your team's performance up until that abrupt ending due to the coronavirus pandemic?
I think that the team's performance throughout the year was reflected upon how hard, specifically this year, how hard this team trained in the fall. I think we took the intensity in our practice gym, the weightlifting sessions, and just the team culture to a different level. We, as a team, we read Legacy by James Kerr, which is a revolving around the All Blacks,
Mm-hmm.
the rugby team from New
Yep.
Zealand, and kind of just taking bits and pieces of that and kind of using it to kind of formulate. Not obviously we're not a rugby team. Those guys
Uh,
are incredible athletes and really strong. And we're volleyball players, and we, in our own right, we are also athletic. But that's just a whole nother breed.
yeah.
And I think though we use some of more of their mental principles and lessons, and tried to apply it to our own team culture.
Mhm.
And I think that our performance this year was a reflection of just how much harder we were willing to work this off season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, actually, you could tell that there is a tighter bond. Not that it was better than in previous
Mhm.
year Hawaii teams, but it was something different this year. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I actually have gotten that question a lot. Everyone always used the term not better but different. And I truly feel that this team was more more so bringing the joy of playing the sport, the joy of just loving being around your best friends
Mhm.
in a competitive atmosphere. And I
Wow.
think that
Yeah.
was something that transformed. In 2019, we were a machine. We came, we saw, we conquered kind of thing up until
Hmm.
the end. And this year it was kind of falling in love with the process and recognizing that the person next to you, your teammate next to you, is only gonna be operating or performing to his full capacity if you help him
Yeah.
get there. It's not always going to be competition. It's going to be a lot of collaborative effort. And I think our ability to build a culture and a bond as a team was really strong this year.
Nice. Um, so I'm going to ask you a quick question though. What would
Sure.
you say it was your most exciting or memorable match for you during this abbreviated 2020 season?
I think the most memorable match by far was the five setter on the second night against BYU.
Hmm.
I was unable to play in that match. I really I don't know what happened. I don't know what if it was food poisoning or if it was flu-like symptoms. But the first night I felt absolutely terrible,
Hmm.
and it showed. Individually, I didn't perform well, and unfortunately, we lost that match in three as a team.
Hmm.
And then the next night, uh, I had some pretty severe inflammation in both of my knees, along with not feeling well. And I
Yeah.
tried warming up, and it was a very, very emotional and heartbreaking decision for me to pull myself out of the game. But when I look back at things and seeing how the guys that went in for me, such as Chaz, and James going into crush serves, and everyone that contributed and stepped up, and Ratto going for 30 kills.
Yeah.
And our team fighting through that difficult rotational error on behalf of the lineup that was written in. It was just incredible to see everybody come together as a unit. And that for me was the best moment of the season. And it was a game that I didn't even step on the court to compete and participate in, but I felt no less engaged, and I was, yelling and cheering and just watching my best friends and my teammates just go to work and enjoy themselves and feed off of the crowd's energy. And they played incredible, and we ended up beating a very talented BYU team.
Yeah, that's definitely a true sign of a leader right there, knowing when to just let it go and then let other guys step up. So it definitely speaks to your maturity as a leader for that Hawaii team.
Thank you.
I was watching both matches, and I guess I've missed that. Usually there's a rotational error on the second night that.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's a surprise to a few of us.
Yeah, I believe it was in the fourth set. Yeah, it was the fourth set. We accidentally wrote the lineup in wrong, and we had Ratto hitting on the left, I believe, in 2 rotations, and our outside hitter 1, which was Phillip, hitting on the right side in 2 rotations. And throughout that game, we got called for out of rotation for a total of 3 points, or maybe even 4. And if you're doing that against a top caliber team like BYU, typically you're losing that set.
You need every point.
Yeah, exactly. Against a team like that, you need every point. And the fact that we were able to overcome that, and we would call frequent timeouts. They seemed random at times, but it was simply so we could get back in the huddle and show guys where they needed to be on a whiteboard, because they didn't really know. But to see them adapt and overcome adversity like that, losing points, having so many variables against them, and to pull through and get that set win and create that momentum that led into the fifth, it was incredible. And I just couldn't – in that moment, I couldn't have been more proud of just the men that were on the floor.
Wow. Well, it definitely was an exciting weekend, even for all of us that had to go to sleep at 2 a.m. to watch the conclusion of night 2. But it was – there is no place better than Stan Sheriff Center to watch volleyball. I mean, it's such a great vibe in the crowd. It's a great setup. And, I love Smith Fieldhouse, but the layout just isn't as good as the SSC. Talk about the fans. I mean, it's hard for me, being that I'm only there like maybe once a year, but it's an incredible phenomenon to see your fan base out there.
Yeah. They're part of a special culture, and we try to find our place within that culture and just cohesively feed off of our own team's energy and their energy, because they bring, when that house is rocking, it's just powerful. You feel it kind of throughout your body. It's an energy, it's a buzzing, it's incredible. I think the fans and I think the people that support us are the backbone of our team, because they look and care for us with such a just honest and genuine regard. They're always there for us. We can have terrible performances. Fortunately, it hasn't been that case for the past couple of years, because we've worked really hard to put ourselves in positions to be successful. Yeah. But when we do have an off night, or when someone obviously isn't feeling well, those aunties that give the lays, the boosters, the fan base always is there for us, and is always just giving us a positive look, word, conversation, or even just a gesture. And it means a lot to us.
Yeah. So even though the season was cut short, the NCAA has decided to grant an additional year of eligibility, basically another chance for the seniors like yourself, Patrick Gassman, Ratto, and James Anastasiades. What was your reaction to that decision?
It was, at the time, I was going through so many different emotions of honestly just being sad and a little bit depressed by what was going on. I didn't really know how to handle it and kind of put things into focus. I suspected that would be a potential opportunity. I just didn't. Once it actually got announced and they were saying that they would let seniors back, it was kind of just another shock. And it's been a decision made by them that's now taken quite a bit of time to process, and they're still even finalizing certain aspects of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was necessarily just feeling relieved or motivated by a potential another opportunity, or more so just kind of trying to come to terms with everything going on, focusing on, the fact that COVID-19 spreading throughout the globe, and it's more than just athletics.
Yeah. Now, have you spent any time considering what the plans are for you in the near future, whether it is playing internationally, professionally, assuming things are going to be, the economies will be okay, or playing beach professionally, or maybe just becoming an intense businessman making a ton of money?
Yeah. In the near future, certainly looking for potential employment is an important decision that needs to be made. My two, I don't mean to keep denying the beach thing, but I think the beach volleyball might have to be saved for a later date. And that might be, maybe you'll be the head announcer of the AVP by that point. We'll see. And I might be out there. But for at this point in time, I've narrowed it down to either staying and competing another year at the University of Hawaii, or going and playing professionally. And I know that window is shrinking, so a decision will have to be made soon. But I know that volleyball, fortunately, will be in my future, and kind of just waiting on certain factors to figure out what's next for me.
That's great to hear, because I mean, considering you're extremely talented on both the hard court and on the sand, it's good to hear that you have dreams of pursuing additional volleyball, because you definitely have a gift to be out on whatever court it is, whatever material it's made out of.
Thank you.
Hey, being as our entire culture and our way of life has been severely affected by this pandemic, what message would you want to communicate to our listeners and viewers?
I want to communicate that to those who are supporting men's volleyball and have become so consumed with watching men's volleyball and following men's volleyball that their lives almost seem like they're losing something from it. Whatever position, whatever influence that you are that's involved with volleyball, just know that I personally love you and I appreciate you supporting our sport to the extent that you do. And just know that no matter what, everybody that you follow, everyone that inspires you, their journey is still going to continue after this. This is a bump in the road, but their journeys will continue, and we'll be back. And that to stay strong during this time, stay healthy, focus on what you can control. And when this does pass, just know that it's going to be an incredible year for athletics. It's going to be not just in men's volleyball, but throughout all of athletics. I feel that athletes will have a greater sense of purpose. They'll have a greater sense of motivation, knowing that this year was taken from them, and they're going to be intently motivated on making sure that this opportunity doesn't come to pass, or this for the next year.
Yeah, absence does make the heart grow fonder, and we definitely appreciate the efforts that are put on by you and other athletes around the world. We're going to really appreciate seeing you guys back competing and pouring back in our lives and giving us the ups, the downs, and the all around. So I think it's a good place to break. I'm with senior outside hitter of University of Hawaii, Colton Cowell, here on the Viral Volley Podcast. Hey, good day, everyone. Once again, I'm here with Colton Cowell of the University of Hawaii. We're here on the Viral Volley Podcast, and just last week they released the Big West Conference all-conference teams. And what's up next? The All-American team. And I asked Colton to really think about, as an athlete, who were some of the top performers he felt really got it going on in the 2020 season, even though it was as short as it was. So Colton, who do you have in mind as your top guys? Even if it's your roommate doing laundry
Right.
behind you,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Rado Parapunov. In case you guys are
Yeah.
wondering if he
Yeah.
sneaks back there.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna first off nominate as a top performer Rado Parapunov. I think he's also a potential Player of the Year candidate. He dominated. He took
Yeah.
over matches. He did more than what we needed him to do, but it was everything that we needed him to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he also just dropped off my my laundry for me. So he's just he's a hero to me.
Yeah.
He's a champion for sure. I think Rado Parapunov, I'm gonna go by position, and Gabby Garcia at the opposite spots were two of the most incredible opposites that I've seen in a very long time. And I think they both had physical attributes that took over matches.
Yeah.
In terms of the outsides, I think Davide really developed as a player this year, and he showed that he's not just a 6'9" attacker. He's able to receive, serve at a really high level, and he's got so many different off speeds shots, like Italian volleyball obviously teaches them, that he was able to incorporate. I was really impressed by him. Another outside I think that I was really looking forward to going head to head with was Kyle Macaulay.
Oh yeah. Yep.
The San Diego guy. He really stepped up for his team, and he put his team on the map. And that team was they were tough, and you had to really play well to beat them this whole year. And I was really looking forward to competing against them.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ryan Conan from Lewis.
Yep. Yeah.
I think he just received the Division II Player of the Year. I think he was.
I believe so. Yeah. You got the MIVA conference
and the MIVA
player
player. Yeah, and he's deserving of that. He's a really good guy. He's a really fierce competitor, and yeah, another just incredible athlete, and another really tall athlete, tall outside hitter that's able to kind of bring multiple components to the game.
Yeah.
I think that was 5. Okay.
Well,
I think that was 5. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to add in there. It's amazing because you'd meant your first two guys you named off, Rado and Gabby. I actually spoke to Gabby a couple of weeks ago, and the mutual respect they had for each other after night 2 of your guys' matchup. It's just cool to see that kind of camaraderie, even though they're opponents, on the court. But I had to sneak in a question. Hey, what words did you exchange with Rado? He's like, some things are better left unsaid.
Yeah, that's funny. I think that was just an instance of greatness, recognizing greatness.
Yeah, he said the same thing, and it's just great to see. I mean, you guys knew you were easily the top teams in the nation, so. But please do go on with the rest of your Colton Cowell All-America picks.
My 25-person performance list. No, I'm just joking. I would say for the liberos, I have to give it to Gage.
Yeah.
I think Gage is developing and molding himself into a leader and into an independent player and a different type of leader than his brother was, but still just as effective. I think Joe is an incredible leader for us, and I think Gage is going to become that person for this program, especially going into his senior year now. That's 6. And I think in terms of middle blockers, I always find it incredibly hard to play against Scott Static. And he was averaging over 2 blocks a game, and that number is monumental. It's record setting. I think for the rally scoring era up until present, he just
I knew it was like 2.06 per set.
Yeah,
I didn't know where that stood in the record books.
I think he was well above any previous record set in terms of the type that's played the rally scoring era to games to 25.
Yeah.
So Scott Static for me in the middle was just a defensive machine. And I also got to think that his counterpart on the offensive side, Tyler Mitchum from Lewis.
Yeah.
He was incredible. He's another guy that's going to be able to take over matches the more and more he develops. And then I got to, as the final middle blocker, because I'm a big fan of middles, Pat Gassman.
Yeah.
Pat brings everything. And the crowd always loves when they see, the big man moving on defense. But there were very, very few times that a ball would fall on the floor without Pat going for it. Pat brings everything in terms of middle. He's offensively incredible. He's got every shot. His defense, he's dense, and he puts up just a really solid block in front of the opponent. So when that ball hits him, it's it's like going into a black hole. There's no momentum coming back from that ball. It's going straight down. I've never seen a ball do that. And just in terms of like what else, he brings a serve that's over 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He's one of the top servers in the country for sure. And just, like I said before, he's a big man that can move. He plays defense like an animal. So
he's a physical beast. So, I saw him at the Norseca Continental Championships and USA versus Cuba, and he is holding his own against Robert Landry-Simone. And that's huge.
That was incredible. Yeah. If you're going up against that guy and you're able to perform well, you're taking steps in the right direction for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's some solid picks though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unless, of course, you had some honorable mentions you wanted to drop. Stay in good standing with some friends of yours. No.
I'll throw one more outside hitter in.
All right.
I think Joel Schneidmiller from Irvine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Are you just saying that because I'm here?
That's not an honorable mention. That's because I really respect Joel as a player. I think he's a really fierce competitor. And I just think he's been the guy for UC Irvine and really just like the engine behind that team.
Yeah. Well, great picks. We'll see in a few days' time, though, actually exactly a week, who's on that All-American team and who gets the Player of the Year and the Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
So,
and I missed the setters. There's one more. There was Will Stanley.
Oh, okay. Is that because he's a fellow Hawaii?
I had to put a setter in. I felt like I went through every position, so I have to put a setter in. Yeah, I think Will Stanley and Casey McGarry were the two top setters in the league this year, and I think Will was just incredibly physical for a setter at the net, and I think Casey was possibly the most difficult setter to just read.
Yeah.
So those two guys, I think, really led their team well.
Will Stanley got the match point on night one against you guys, and he was all fired up. I watched that video highlights constantly.
Yeah, he was my club setter.
Oh yeah,
believe it or not. Yeah, we played club. My 18s year, we played club together.
So you a little jabber across the net then that first night?
There's always some of that, but no, so he and I both share the same birthday too.
Oh really?
So we both had our birthdays on March 4th. They swept us on the 5th. That was a great birthday present for him and not for me. And then we ended up winning the weekend with the 5-setter. So I did end up getting my present, which was a win against BYU.
Yeah. Well, those are some solid picks. And definitely from a player's standpoint, you get to see you're actually on the receiving end or having to go up against all of them. So I always respect what the athletes have to say about their fellow opponents. So
sorry if the list was a little bit extensive, but
no. People love hearing what you're seeing on the court. So that's definitely a solid group of people you picked as potential All-American candidates. We'll call them the All Colton Team. So
all right, nice. I like that.
All right, let's take a break right there, and we're going to jump into our little fun segment. Should be a quick one, just because it's all fun and games. You get to see the inside or the dark side of Colton Cowell. We'll be back in just a moment.
Looking forward to this. Yeah.
Hey, Colton. You were having a breakout season, playing at an incredibly high level. On top of that, your Hawaii team was in the discussion for a national championship this year. What went through your mind once the season abruptly ended due to the coronavirus pandemic?
When we got the news that our season ended, it was actually in a conference room, and we were supposed to be watching film on Northridge, who was going to be our first Big West Conference opponent for the 2020 season. And it just it was like a punch to the gut. It was thoughts circulating through my mind of my college career is over. I'll never get another chance to step on the floor with my best friends and compete. And just, feeling for the other seniors who have also established themselves in this program.
Now, obviously you're still in Hawaii, but can you describe what it's like, the atmosphere in Hawaii? I mean, everywhere is pretty much shut down. I imagine it's pretty shut down. You're quarantined in, but what kinds of things are you seeing from the inside standpoint of what's going on in Hawaii?
Well, for the first time in my life, I was mopeding through Waikiki to get to the beach because they haven't blocked off access to the water, thankfully. And it was a ghost town, and I've never seen anything like that because of so much of Hawaii's popularity and revenue is generated from tourism. that seeing absolutely no one walking those streets, whereas typically it's shoulder to shoulder in a crowd packed, that was pretty shocking for me to see. And just just having to wear, they just passed a law where you have to wear masks to gain entry into the store. I think Hawaii's taking steps in the right direction, and I think it's good that we're on the right paths in order to kind of expedite this process of what everyone's going through.
Now, as a student athlete, we were chatting, and you said you just completed a midterm. But what is it like, the experience for being a intercollegiate athlete trying to go through this, what could be your final year in school?
Well, it's just different. I'm so used to having a very scheduled routine throughout my day. I'm used to being busy, and having all this time now, I would like to claim that I focus some of it on as much as I can on school, but the truth is it's been difficult because going through such a dramatic change in routine came as a shock. And so at first, school was very difficult to kind of come back to, just because of simply feeling a little bit depressed and saddened by the events and the occurrences of everything. However, now that I've kind of been able to gain a rhythm a little more, I think it was simply just a matter of time. And I think myself and other college athletes are learning that it's just important to now prioritize school and try to maximize our team's GPA.
Now, you were looked to as a leader for your Hawaii team this season, at least from a fan perspective. But what did you tell your guys upon discovering the quest for a national championship had come to an end, especially given the recent years? You had a loss to Long Beach State last year in the final, 2008 without the at-large, and then a loss to OSU or Ohio State in 2017. I mean, Hawaii has been always in the mix, and this is yet another thing that's been an obstacle for you. What did you do to tell your guys to encourage them, or what kind of conversations did you have?
I communicated. It was a pretty simple message. I just told them to not pity themselves and to not dwell on pity, because if you dwell on pity, you limit your ability to move forward, move on, and you kind of get stuck in a position where, as an athlete, you don't want to be. You kind of find this plateau where you could do this, you could find ways to maximize getting stronger, you could find ways to maximize excelling in the classroom now that it's online. But if you pity yourself, it's only going to hold you back. And that was kind of the message I told them, was that please don't pity the seniors. Please don't pity yourselves. More opportunities will come. And from this point on, focus on controlling the variables that you're able to control, and do them to the best of your abilities.
Now, assuming that all this settles and this clears, I guess, what are the plans for your seniors, if they have them, to continue playing or to continue on with life? Is that still a pretty active discussion? Have decisions been made for a lot of because you had 4 seniors on your team? So I'm curious, like, who's going to be back, not for strategic purposes, but it was an entertaining crew, and it is so it is saddening to hear that this season was cut short for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I think being a part of this this specific senior class was a blessing for me. They helped me transform into the man that I am today, and they were student athletes that gave everything they had back to this program for extended periods of time. 3 out of the 4 seniors were 5th-year guys, and I feel that we gave the program everything that we have. And in terms of potentially having more to give, I can't speak on behalf of the other seniors, but I know that the conversation of remaining is active, and I know that if the circumstances are right, this is an incredible place to play. Hawaii volleyball is special, and it brings a community together and an island culture together like no other. And I'm sure that they'll consider staying, as will I. And it just depends on certain financial and academic circumstances that are moving forward.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Viral Volley podcast. On the screen, you've got a Hawaii outside hitter, Colton Cowell. We're in our final fun segment called The Rundown. Why is it called The Rundown? Because you have to be quick on defense, quick in responses, and be ready to get back up and answer another quick question again. So first thing comes to your mind is what you should answer. And you won't be judged. It's a judgment-free show.
We'll see. Yeah.
All right, we'll see. First question. What's your go-to song before a match?
I believe it's called I have it right here. It's Requiem something. It's there's no lyrics at all. It's kind of just an instrumental. It's Is
it Brave? What's going on here? Techno,
no, it's actually
EDM?
I don't even know what to call it. It's just it's Requiem for a Tower. It's by London Music Works.
All right, we'll have to look that up because I don't know that.
Yeah.
All right, favorite movie?
Favorite movie is going to be Gladiator.
Oh, got me right there.
Yeah, yeah, good. Yeah.
Do you have a celebrity doppelganger?
To be honest, I wasn't able to find a celebrity doppelganger that I thought looked like me. However, I think from what my teammates have memed about me is the Teenage Hercules, the animated Teenage Hercules. Yeah, that's what they picked. That's what they picked. Not the full-grown one. That guy's a little too buff, but the teenage one, where he's still discovering his strength. That's the one that I've been fondly compared to. Yeah.
All right, favorite place to be is fill in the blank.
Oh, at the beach.
Okay. Favorite kind of food?
Ice cream. Ben & Jerry's ice cream.
All right. When not in training mode, what do you indulge in? Ice cream?
Yeah, ice cream, a little bit of light reading, and definitely Netflix.
All right. Funniest heckle directed at you.
Funniest heckle direct. Oh man. Oh.
Well,
that's tough. Nothing's coming to mind actually with that. I might that one might take. I'll think about that if there's more questions.
All right.
I'll come back to you on that one. Yeah.
All right. Here you go. Easy one. What is your favorite team or person to play against?
Favorite team? My favorite team to play against is UC Irvine. Always has, always will be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a fun series, and I'm kind of biased, so I don't like to say it, but I like playing you guys too. So.
Yeah. Definitely playing against Irvine.
Yeah, for sure. It's your last bottle of sanitizer or toilet paper. Who do you give it to?
Who do I give it to?
Rado.
I'm keeping that. I'm keeping them both.
Well, there we go. Now we truly know behind Colton Cowell here. We don't have to go back to the nickname.
I think my favorite heckle was just someone probably calling me a stupid Howie. I think that's kind of just what it was. It was just some mainland kid calling me a Howie, and for being a white boy on a Hawaii team and from Hawaii and stuff. And it just, I think that always gets me.
Yeah, and they don't read your hometown.
They're not wrong. They're not wrong, but yeah, I definitely I was grown in the islands, and it was it's always funny when people just yell at me that I'm like a fake Hawaiian and stuff and different things. That's always funny.
I'm pretty sure it's a Makawao in Montana. No.
Yeah, really? Oh man.
No, I don't know.
You actually got me there for a second. Oh goodness.
All right. Hey, Colton, thanks for joining me on the Viral Volley podcast. Always a pleasure to speak to you, and it's even better to see you playing because you definitely, just seeing each year your progression of getting better, not only indoors but on the beach, has been such an incredible experience. And I appreciate you just taking the time and sharing what's going on in current events and life today.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Rob, and thank you to everybody that tuned in to watch. Really appreciate you guys, and as always, mahalo.